How was the sleep?
Out like a light, snoring. I think I disturbed your sleep a little bit, but it was good.
Nice. Got a nice glass off this morning as well.
We are day 2 of the Spearfin adventure with Harvey from Spearfin, and we've just woken up and we've got near glass out conditions. It's flat as, and it's looking good. Morning, mate.
Excited. Get some lobsters.
So the target for today, we're going for crustaceans. Going to try and crack onto some brown crab or some lobster. Failing that, I suppose we'll pick up a spider. And yeah, it should be good. And basically we're just going to get some brekkie into us, and then we're going to head out and get wet and get straight onto a feed. The wind's due to pick up in the arvo, so just got to ensure that we're getting wet and we're making the most of flat conditions and good visibility before we might end up with white horses everywhere. So it's going to be a nice little dive. We're going for lobsters and crays, or lobsters and, no, not lobsters and crays, lobsters and crabs. But I'm going to take my gun in anyway. Are you taking your gun?
Yeah, it's been for a bit.
And just see, in case we get some bass come past, or maybe a flatty or something interesting. Don't want to miss out on a good opportunity. But yeah, check this. It's going to be lovely.
So me and Harvey get suited and booted and hop on into the blue sink. Harvey was first up with a lobster, but unfortunately he wasn't legal size, so he gets released to grow and live another day. The ground that we were covering had some awesome cracks and ledges about the place with plenty of kelp. This is the ideal place to look for brown crabs and lobsters in the UK. Here I'm on to what I think is a really big crab, but I'm not sure if I picked out the wrong crab or if the crab just looked a lot bigger in its hole. This guy was a little bit small and missing a claw. Here we have another lobster. I can tell straight away that he's going to be undersized, so he lives to fight another day. Here I've used my spear to mark a hole. This is a really good technique of keeping your holes. It can be quite easy to get disorientated when you're down looking in caves, and this cave in particular was loaded with undersized lobsters, crabs, squat lobster, and this absolutely awesome top knot. Now I first thought this fish was a brill, but on further research it is a top knot, and these guys live almost exclusively in caves and cracks. He doesn't look too happy with being handled, so I take him back down to his exact hole and release him. Guys, if you are taking things out of their holes, please release them back exactly where you found them, and this way it ensures that they stay in their homes. Here's another brown crab. This guy's got 2 claws and he looks about legal to me, just as long as he's a male. So I'll have a little look-see. Takes a couple of grabs, and he's not particularly large, but he is legal, so we might keep him. Spearfin stumbles across this absolutely amazing ledge, which has just got nooks and crannies everywhere, and from memory there were 4 lobsters on this one spot. Harvey identifies a really big buck and decides to dive down to try and get him out. Here you can see Harvey working out his best plan of attack for this lobster. One of my favourite things about hunting lobster is the amount of planning that goes into it. You've got to suss out the ledge, the angle, what the current's doing, how that's going to push you up against the rocks. If things get stirred up, you really don't want it to get silty and then the lobster escape. So there's lots and lots of variables that make lobster hunting really quite fun. Here Harvey goes in with the gaff and the lobster pushes himself right back into his hole, and from this point onwards we're going to have to body dive the hell out of this lobster. When you disturb a lobster and get them stressed out, similar to crabs, they will try and move when they see the opportunity to. So if you come down on a hole and you stir things up, or you disturb the lobster, or it feels threatened, when you go back up to breathe, the lobster will try and relocate into a new spot where it feels more secure, or just get away from you. Here you can see I'm trying to get at this lobster. He's got himself an absolutely awesome hole with plenty of places to go, and it's really hard for me to reach that far back in with his claws hanging right out the front. Definitely don't want to get pinched by one of those, so I'm trying to use the gaff as much as possible to draw the lobster to me. I almost get my hands on its tail and it bolts for the back, so it's going to have to be another dive. Unfortunately, my GoPro decided to fill with memory space literally just as we're getting into the capture dive. As you can see, we're using the gaff to mark the exact hole and the spear to mark the general area once again. I get the gaff in straight behind the lobster and I managed to just about get in there and pull him out, but it had taken me and Harvey a fair few goes to get this guy. So Harvey had another dive down, it was then my turn, and boom, managed to get him out. Now you'll notice that his, what we call a scissor claw, is a lot bigger than his battle claw, meaning that he lost his battle claw either in a battle or due to an infection or something, but he's regrowing his battle claw and it's smaller than his scissor claw, so it would have been a lot bigger had he not lost his battle claw. But really good sized lobster. I'm absolutely stoked. Wicked to see, and check the colours in these guys. Spearfin notices a bit of rubbish from the surface and decides to dive down on it and collect it. We're all about removing rubbish from the ocean where possible and just doing whatever we can to improve the marine environment. We're taking fish and life out of that marine environment, so the least we can do is give a little bit back by taking out any rubbish or foreign objects that we see.
Alright, so we've just moved locations and Harvey's out there doing his thing and I'm on the boat. Got a little bit cold. Oh, I know. Sad, isn't it? I've definitely acclimatised to Fiji waters. Managed to get a lobster, battled like, would have seen like probably 10 plus edible crabs. I don't know if I videoed all of them, and then definitely videoed, or hopefully I videoed some undersized lobsters as well. Some really cute ones, like this big. But yeah, just awesome to see. It shows that it's like a healthy ecosystem, and we've got young ones coming through that will one day become legal and gives them all a chance to breed and what have you, so that's fantastic. But definitely wanted to highlight on teamwork. So me and Harvey identified the lobster. At first he found 2 others, then he found that guy, all in the same ledge. Like, amazing little ledge system. And yeah, we just basically worked it up and down like otters. Harvey went first, I went second, he went again, and again, and again, back and forth, back and forth. But the point is, when you start to put a bit of stress on intelligent creatures such as lobsters, they will just move. They'll realise that that hole isn't going to do them any justice, and they will try and move. So they'll wait for you to go through, you breathe up, and then they'll just take advantage of that, knowing that you're going to be gone for a little while, and they'll bugger off into some kelp or a new hole or whatever. Really tricky. So working in pairs like we were working in, it was fantastic, because if Harvey went down and then he would try and get him out, move him around. All of this displaces the lobster into different positions and puts the lobster in a location that it doesn't necessarily want to be, it's just been caught in. So then when Harvey runs out of air, he can come up to the surface. I can ensure that he comes up to the surface safely, and then I can then dive down on my own accord and try and repeat the cycle. And because of that, I was lucky enough to get the cray. I keep calling it cray, the lobster. I've been in Australia too long. I was able to get the lobster, but without that teamwork, that lobster probably would have slipped away into the darkness for sure. So yeah, I love the teamwork, and thank you, Spearfin.
Managed to get nice and warm on the boat before Harvey was screaming over to me that he'd found a monster lobster and I had to come see. Harvey uses a little bit of bait to get the lobster out of his hole. This is another common method of getting big lobsters. They're really aggressive when they get to this size, and Harvey just maneuvers it perfectly, getting his hand right in behind the lobster and grabbing hold of this big buck. Check the claw on this guy. He's an absolute monster.
What an absolute beast.
I'm absolutely over the moon for Harvey. That's a hell of a lobster. It's got a massive scissor claw and a huge battle claw that's like the size of Harvey's hand. Absolute beast. And unfortunately today was his day. He's been taken. What an incredible, incredible animal. I'll never get sick of looking at the UK lobsters. The blues that they get and the patterns in their tail and up through their body. Just amazing. The water had turned a little bit rough, so we had to head back to the boat before we could get too many cool shots and basically move position because of, yeah, the wind was really starting to pick up.
Right, it's gonna swing round. Fucking hell.
Quick little update. Me and Sam come back in out of the wind now from where we were catching the lobsters. Sam got a really nice sized one and I managed to get one right at the end. We've come back in now. Sam just put on some, what is it, Moroccan bean stew or something like that?
Vegetable curry and something I can't pronounce.
Nice. Got it on the jet boil, so it's nice and warm.
So we've officially called it diving done for today, and Harvey's just come up with an absolute monster of a lobster that's sat in the esky. But now we've just cooked up some lovely curry. I'm going to use the warmth of the bottom of the pot to keep the legs warm.
That's the scale size against my hand.
Love your work, man. Good job. Big old boy. Sick. Alright guys, so this is a rainy end to our trip, but it's been an absolutely epic one all the same. We've gone out, we managed to smash bass on the first day, and then yeah, obviously we had the towing incident, which was good fun, but good lads, and yeah, you've always got to help those within your community. What goes around comes around, and yeah, you never know what happens if you're in that similar situation. You'd love for fellow blokes that enjoy the sport, and women like yourself, to get amongst it and give you a hand. So that was cool, and we had a beast of a cook up, bass curry, can't complain. And now we are on a rainy beach in South Devon, soaking it up, literally getting soaked, and we're gonna create a fire. Harvey's just getting things going at the moment, building the fire, and we're just gonna split the lobster that I caught today and the bass that Harvey shot yesterday, and we're just gonna cook it up and go fire style, go savage, go native, and it's gonna be delicious. So gotta rock.
Gotta rock.
We have a lovely bass specimen, and we're going to wait for the flame to cool down a little bit, and then we're just going to chuck this puppy on and get him looking nice and crispy.
Lovely.
Plenty of char flavour to this boy tonight.
We try and find the most sheltered spot to get the fire going, and then we pop the bass on with its scales intact. Harvey adds a bit of the ocean ledge seasoning, keep your eye out for this, and some butter to go with. We wait for the fish to cook up, and then we get stuck into the lobster.
Right, so we're just going to put the lobster on the fire, but beforehand, obviously, we're going to dispatch the lobster. And just on this cross, I've explained it in previous videos. It's the best way to put the knife. You just put it down through the top and just drive it forward, and that will be enough to kill the lobster. strong claw. So that will do for now. I say it every time, we literally can't beat fresh lobster like that, straight out the ocean. Mate, that's so good. I think the nicest thing is it's literally, there's nothing else on that bar, just the taste of the lobster.
Oi. Get this stuff off. Oh. Just be careful with your fingers, guys, because of the claw does suck. If you get a bit of it snap into your finger, it will cut you like a blade. Right, so with the tail, you can just go in behind here. Actually, we better use a fillet knife. Come down the side and just slice along that edge. And then once you've done that, you should just be able to take your tail, twist, twist, and pull.
Oh, look at that.
Meat in this, and we're not sat around for Sunday dinner on this one, so we're just gonna get into it. That is incredible, and taste wise that's actually heaps better than the claw.
Mate, it's one of the strongest shells I've seen on a lobster.
Yeah,
Like the thickness of it as well.
yeah.
I'll just show them quickly. You can see the thickness on that shell there.
And then just twist to the side, and the meat should come out as one big lovely tail. And it's going to be super yummy, so just going to eat it. Super moist, bit of flame, and a bit of charring on it, and it just tastes incredible. Straight from the sea, on a flame, cooked by the sea. Can't beat it. Yum.
Actual lobster tail itself without anything else. Tastes amazing, really good. Right, fish is done, scales have done their job, and it's actually the first time I've used or kept the scales on the fish, and Sam recommended it as it doesn't burn the flesh. All the scales are burnt on the outside, on the inside the flesh is completely intact, which is exactly what you want. I got no words for it. Literally any fish cooked on a barbecue outside in the element, so much better than cooking in the kitchen. What a char grilled flavour.
So our bass has been cooking on flames for a little while now. I couldn't tell you, it's longer than I thought, but we've had to endure with the rain. But the reason why we don't take scales off the fish when we cook it on a fire like this is because it basically protects all the meat on the inside. So you peel off the scales and you can see that all that beautiful flesh underneath is protected, and not just protected, but it's like lovely, juicy and wicked. So we'll just rip out a chunk of flesh and give it a try. Perfection. Lovely smoky taste. There's a bit of seasoning coming through, which is good. It's just really moist. Bass tastes delicious. That's a win. We've been hit with a bit of weather, but we've made the most of it still. Campfire, going with some lobster, going with some bass, and yeah, it's just terrific. So massive thank you to Harvey for helping organise the trip and obviously coming on the trip with us. And yeah, if guys check out the channel Spearfin, I'll chuck up all the links in the description anyways, but it's been wicked. This is it. This is life. Missed half of it. Alright guys, so yeah, that's it. That's the end of the trip. We've had 2 days out on the water, getting wet, getting fed. We've gone out, we've slapped 3 bass, we picked up 2 lobsters, and we've still got, or Harvey's still got his monster lobster to get through, which is going to be sick. But it's been, yeah, what a journey. Even with typical British weather like this, still making the most of it. Camping beneath a tree, getting a campfire going, cooking everything up. It's absolutely sick. And it just goes to show that even with weather conditions like this, where it's not ideal, it's not Australia, 30 degrees every day, blue skies, you can still make the most of the outdoors. So get out, enjoy it, and just, yeah, froth on life. Alright, until next time guys, stay wet, stay fed. Catch ya.